This time the quick speed shot. Check it out. I'm building custom rear fender flares for the project Rusty Junk YJ. I'm a professional. Don't try this at home. Okay, you can pretty much see the finished result here. It's pretty awesome. Let me go back in time and I'll show you how I did it. Hold on, I'm coming. So we want to do to get the layout of these fender flare and body armor kit here. I took some chipboard and I cut out 4-inch wide pieces to simulate my flat stock so I can play around and get my shape here. So I've gone ahead, because since this is such a huge lift, I've gone and got it down about a 1/4 inch past this round wheel well tub, or 2 inches down from the top of the tub is what it turns out to be. And I've got that piece there. And I'm just going to hold these up and guesstimate how I want this to look. Let me get a look on it here and see how I like it. I got to cover up here. See a little bit of the tub showing here, but I'm going to weld on a flare. The flare's going to weld here, so probably see a little bit of that tub up under there. Anyways, that's fine. So I'm going to come down here into this edge and cut this off so it's going to lay right on this line here. Mark my cut line there. And then this, let's see, how's this going to work? Then I'm going to weld this seam up and grind it down so this will all be one piece on here eventually. And bam, there we go. I finally figured it out. I had to end up making a new piece here. I'd extend this up and match this and then make the centerpiece smaller. But I got it laid out here, and then this like here, this line will get continued down and cut off, so this line will go all the way down. But the flare is going to start on here. I got 1x3 rectangular tubing, so it's going to come out, weld onto this seam, so the flare will be 3 inches out here, up and over just like a regular Wrangler flare, and then these will bolt on up around and match this, and then I'll 45 or whatever the ends of this and taper it in, and taper this in, so we got no sharp edges to catch on things. But I can, once I get this tacked up and bolted in, I can take the cutoff wheel and cut right along this line. But I want to open this up back here. But this will be super trick. It'll look like the YJ, square flare look, but give a little protection to the body. I like it. It's a good idea. The next thing is to, I think, cut it out of the flat stock and get the shapes all cut it out to the pattern. I'm going to label these front, center, and rear, left hand out, and then when I make the other side I can flip them around and cut the pieces and make this will essentially be the inside on the passenger side, so I can cut it out and be the same, and then have some custom rear fender flare action on the Rusty YJ Jeep. Okay, I got the pattern off here. I've got my flat stock. I'm using the same 4-inch wide 14 gauge I used to make the rock sliders out of in the previous video. So I've just laid out my pieces on here. I'm just going to take the 4-inch grinder and cut these pieces out here. I got the pieces cut out here and the edges cleaned up. I'm just going to hold them on this piece of steel. Gonna line up the edges here. I'm simply going to tack it and then take it to the Jeep and eyeball it once I get it tacked together here. Bring it over here to the Jeep. Okay, so it looks pretty good. We've got my witness marks, so the marker, I've got to do a little bit of trimming here and there to make it fit. These edges aren't entirely true, but I can adjust those with the grinder. But the edges that need to be welded together doesn't look bad. That should work. And then like an 1/8 inch long down here, I can grind that off. And this corner's tying in pretty good. So that looks good. I'm going to go ahead and weld the seam fully first. Get her ground down. And then we'll be ready for action to get it bolted up on here. Then we can start forming the fender flare. So I'm going to use 1/4 inch bolts to hold this on. So I drilled all my holes 1 1/4 from the edge, and then I've spaced them out equally. I got a few more up top to help hold some of that up, and then 3 down the sides. So I'm just going to take the drill into the body, get the pilot hole started, and then take this and drill it all out to 1/4 inch. I'll use 1/4 inch bolts just like I did down here, and then that'll be bolted on, and I can lay out the pieces for the fender flare here. I'll get that steel out, and you can really see how much I got to trim off this here. I've marked it with a marker, so when I take this off next time I can cut that off. But this will open the wheel well up nice for a lot of tire action. If you want to put the big meats on here, you'd still have a lot of room. But I think it's going to be pretty cool, and it's going to have this big plated effect all the way around the side of it here. So I like it. It's looking tough, and it'll cover up a lot of this junk in here. So where's the drill? Here it is. Aha! Watch this. Okay, with the holes all drilled out here now, I've got this thing kind of just set up here. I went and I measured back, did this last night, forgot how much I measured. 1 1/4. I went back and measured 1 1/4 back from the edge because I'm going to put a 1 inch fender flare on here, and I want a little bit of material to weld to on the bottom. So the material I'm going to use right here is this. It's 1x3. Bam! Rectangular steel tubing. It's 1/8 wall, or 11 gauge or whatever. Kind of heavy, but it's what I got. So I've gone and marked it out. What I want to try to do is make this out of one piece. I want to cut a V in this and take some material out of the bottom and bend this around so I don't have to weld at the top, so it'll just bend around like that. So the angle is about 60 degrees, I'd say, ish. So I'm just going to transfer my marks down, then use the grinder with the cutoff wheel and cut a 60-degree-ish wedge pie shape out of this, and then we'll bend it around, and then I can clamp it up onto this where the line is, and then the bolts up here. So it'll give it like a tough industrial fender flare look, and most importantly cover up 90% of the rust on the body and keep stuff away. This will be 3 inches away, so any trees and all that will hit and rub into this and not get into the top and smash into the hard top and break the window or break the hard top and all that. So double function action here at the Quick Speed Shop. So let me cut it. Where's my cutter? There's some stress in this tubing. When I cut that piece out, the thing went kirk, and it bent a little bit and moved like that. But I'm going to go ahead and just bend this. Come on. Bam, like that. Hold it up here. I haven't gone anywhere near far enough, but I've gone about halfway, so got to cut a little bit more out of it and sneak up on it. Okay, so the second cut worked the charm. This thing is back to where it's got to be here. I bent it down and got it lined up with my lines. Good. The only problem is I took out too much. Check this out. Ah, you see it there? I don't know if you can see it. There's a big old gap in there now. And it's really more than I want to fill up with a welder. It's like a 1/4 inch too much. But here's a secret. We're going to do a little trick. I got some 1/4 inch round rod here. I'm just going to lay that into the inside of the tubing and use it to back the weld joint. And that leaves me with tiny little like 1/16 gaps on each side for full penetration. That's what she said. And I'm going to go ahead and weld this 1/4 inch rod into here, and I can fill up the sides. So that'll fix that. And I measured my hole so I know how much it cut out on the other side. It looks like just about 1 inch wide. It'll give the proper gap here. So I'm going to cut the other side, bend it up, get it all laid out with the Fender flare. Go ahead and like tack the corners, get it locked in, and then weld it up and weld it to the sheet metal plate, which I got to clean up the edges with the grinder here. Get the mill scale off, clean all this up. Okay, it's looking good now. Check this out. Bam. Let's see if I can pick this up. Yeah, there we go. Look at that. You can see how it's going to look here. Let me come closer. It's going to be awesome. Okay, got the plate bolted on here. Let's hold this up and see. Something like that. Yeah, that's going to be awesome. It's going to make some good body armor around here. I thought 3 inches was going to be too much, but it looks pretty tough. I think it's going to be alright. It looks pretty awesome. Check that out. Bam, look at that. Check it out. Thing looks mint. I got it all ground down, cleaned up. Got the corners mitered and welded in. So let's go hang it on the Jeep and see what it looks like. Bam. Ooh, it's hot on the end. Whoops, I forgot I just welded it. It's hot. Bam, check that out. What do you think about that? I think it looks super tough. I'm going to trim this piece out next, but it sticks out just a little bit less than a rub rail, about a 1/2 inch less. So here I've got this 45 kick out here. Now I'm going to saw the rub rail off probably about there and bring this in with a piece of flat stock and weld that into here. Then I can cut this extra tail off and get this line to go all the way down through here for our wheel well. But this thing looks super awesome. It's going to be super beefy, keeps stuff away. It covers up 99% of the rust over the wheel well, so that's going to be look tough. Plus, it looks like, you know, it's got the stock Wrangler feel of the square fender flare. It's kicked out back a little bit here for some more tire clearance in the back. Once I trim this off, we'll have plenty of tire clearance for articulation back here, and it looks pretty awesome. It'll be flat black like the rock slider, but I think it looks great. there we go. I just whipped up a little patch panel out of some 18 gauge steel here, and I just got a tiny little butt weld around here. It's got a flange. I put on the brake. It's going. I'm just going to spot weld to the back side here, and just kind of skip lap weld it here. It'd be good enough, but this will give me some structure. I can drill my last bolt hole and get it mounted back up solid instead of that big rot hole here, so we can mount the rear of this flare into something structural. It sticks out because this body filler sticks out here. I'm not worried about that. The flare it's close enough for what we're doing. It'll probably get smashed up wheeling anyways, but I wanted to get a little bit of structure in here, so I'm just going to go ahead and hit that with a welder, and then we'll get back on the what do you call it, the fender flare here. All right, bam. So check it out. Got the paint up on here. This thing looks freaking awesome. I've just got it finger tight on here, but it's really tight. That little corner patch worked out great. I got the back of this locked right in now, so it looks pretty mint. And I've got tons of tire clearance here for if I wanted to put bigger rubber on here, I'd still be able to articulate and clear. Okay, so the last step I got to do is I got to tie in down here. I got to trim off this back piece of the rocker slider, and I want to tie these into the rocker slider here at an angle. I can take my combination square like this, and it'll give me a 45. And I want to, I think, have it line up with the here with the flare, so it kind of ties all together. Bam. Continue that angle right to there, so this whole thing is tapered right down at the same angle, and it'll look continuous. Bam! That's super tied in there. Welded nice and tight. Now, you know, like I said multiple times already, I bet now I can just deflect around things and not get anything tied up in here. So I'll do the same thing in the front when I build the front flare, but that'll be next time. Alright, so bam, there we go. Got our flare all fabricated up. We tied in the rock slider out here in the back. That's all ready to go. As soon as it cools down, I'll grind it and get it primed and painted. And I'm not going to bolt this on yet. I'm going to pull it off, and when I get my rust converter, which should be here tomorrow, I'm just going to hit these rusty blisters underneath this, and then back here with the new panel, I'm just going to prime and paint that flat black. And once that's done, I'll bolt this on here permanently, and then this stuff is done. I still haven't fabricated the other side rock slider or the other side rear fender flare because I've got the Jeep shoved all the way up against the wall so I can work on this side. It's tight like a tiger in here, but now I've got the process down. I've got all my patterns. I know where everything goes. I can just kick those out real fast on the other side and get that mounted up, and then all this rear body armor will be complete. Next time we're going to go up front. We're going to play with the front fenders. We're going to narrow the front fenders. Going to do some tube fender action on there, narrow them down. I'm also going to build a flare like this. It's not going to be 3 inches wide. It'll probably be like an 1.5 inches wide. Bring that down the back of the front fender, tie into the rock slider, and then tube on out the fenders, cut out where the rust and the missing pieces are from where the previous owner cut the flares off. And then that'll be all the sheet metal mods with the body armor. After that, we're going to fix the frame. I'm going to cut the rear frame rails off, relocate the gas tank, cut out the rear frame rails, fix them. I'm going to fix the driver's side front frame rail at the steering box. And then we're going to build bumpers. And then this thing is going to be ready to hit the trail. So hope you like the Jeep content here at the Quick Speed Shop. Project Rusty Junk YJ. Doing a little bit of homemade fabrication out of you know, pretty much stuff I had laying around to beef this rusty Jeep up, to get her out on the trail and to have some fun in the woods for a little bit of money. So I'm having fun. I've never had a Jeep like this before on the road, and I think it'll be fun to go out to my buddy Tony's and some other places and put this thing through its paces, play around with the suspension, see if I can get it to articulate some more, remove the sway bar and the track bar, and see how this thing wheels on the trail. So follow along on this build series. It's going to be another 4 or 5 videos at least, and then we'll get the thing out and have some fun with it. So thanks for watching. Please subscribe. I'm putting out new videos every Wednesday and Saturday. Hit the bell for the alerts, tell your friends, and we'll see you right back here at the Quick Speed Shop, working on Project Rusty Junk YJ, turn it into a little capable four-wheeler.